Hello and welcome to the Relevate live stream. My name is Avon Collis and I am a CRM marketing automation specialist at Relevate and all-around good guy. Here to go through all of the sales, marketing and technology tips and tricks, questions, answers, so that you can get a better digital result for your business. So today I will be talking about basically the role of digital transformation and the role of people, process, and systems. So in order to go through that, before we do, one of the things you should probably do is jump on our YouTube channel and hit subscribe and like, and the little bell so that you get notified. One of the other things you could do is follow us on the LinkedIn and go to a website. If you've got any questions, we answer them here. So if you've got questions about, what CRM is best, how do I choose a piece of software, what are the considerations, or maybe there's something to do with, how to connect with people on LinkedIn, or just really creating that digital transformation or that digital journey for your customer in the B2B space, really making it nice and seamless for them, allowing you to collect data, connect people, and make life easy. So we do also have a MarTech community. So if you're watching this at the end, I'll put in the comments link to both the YouTube channel and to the Discord community where we have, it's an open environment. So it doesn't matter if with your potential customer, past customer, whether you're interested in MarTech, you're a business and you've got some questions, or you're looking for a career in the marketing technology space, then join the community. And there's lots of people there that you can network with, communicate with, etc. So once we've gone and, now that we've gone through all the preamble stuff, let's get into the nitty gritty. One of the things that we talk about is digital transformation, and trying to describe what is digital transformation. It can really be a number of things. It's kind of the cover-all topic for something like changing the way a particular software product that you use. Maybe it's the same process in a different system. Maybe that system then has some other flow-on effects like more data, better reporting. But one thing is pretty clear is that all businesses should be in a constant state of digital transformation. Always building something new, always tweaking something, getting feedback from a customer, or from employees or from suppliers, and then using that feedback to improve the system. A lot of times people have, you might say, oh, this person's a bad employee, or this failed, or that went wrong. But a lot of times it's probably more that there was a fault with the system. Maybe the training wasn't there. Maybe the technology didn't, couldn't handle the volume. Maybe the process wasn't right. And so there involved some level of tweaking and adjusting. Say, for example, collecting one bit of information at the start could really help with something all the way through. Or even if you do collect information, store it somewhere so that others can use it. So, for example, the email address, or, I'm sure everyone's signed up for something somewhere and they've had to give their email address or phone number like 5 times. And it ends up just being really, really frustrating for the end user. So digital transformation is not only, changing a bit of software or implementing something. It's about the whole way that your business approaches life, the world, its customers, its employees, its partners. It's about really connecting everything through technology. And so today, what I really wanted to do is drill down into each of those parts. Now, the first thing we'll cover is how to duplicate yourself. Obviously, you saw my my image with the 2 me's. If you've clicked on the post to come in here. So duplicating yourself is a result of digital transformation. So being able to duplicate yourself is using things like automation. You can't have automation unless the system knows what to automate. Now, in order to automate something, you have to have somewhere to store the information. You have to collect the information. Then you can automate or run some rules. And ideally, that's something around patterns. And sometimes, people come into workplace and they go, I want to report on this. Well, that's great, but you've not been collecting the data for the last, 12 months or whatever. So there's nothing to report, because whilst that activity was happening, maybe it was every time a customer clicks a particular button on the website. If that's not being tracked somewhere, you can't run the analytics on it. So there's no way to run a report. There's no way to automate what happens next, because you have no visibility on what's actually happening. So one of the things in terms of automation is having a home for the data, collecting the information, but the information, when you collect it, has to be in the system in a particular way. If a free text field, yes, technically you can use AI, machine learning, whatever. You can do your search rules or whatever, but free text fields in your system, your platform, your data are not very good for automating anything. A yes/no checkbox, great. A system or a computer can just run a rule or a formula to say, is this true, yes or no? If yes, go that way. If no, go that way. So having a Boolean term, or like a yes/no gate, or an and/if kind of decision rule, really requires having the data in the right structure. So things like drop-down boxes where there's 5 pre-selected values which you can make a decision on. Yes/no gates like a checkbox. Maybe a number, if a number is greater than a certain value or less than, or if it's a prime number or a decimal, or whatever. You can run formulas on that. So think can you run a formula on a sentence like the lazy dog jumped over or the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog? No. Well, technically you probably could, because that is quite widely used. If you ran a search for that, I'm pretty sure you'd find it 10 million times across the internet. But if it was, say for example, if we ran transcription on the text, then perhaps, if the transcription and the text in this live stream, then yes, pretty much there is we probably up to about 50,000 words already just in this conversation. So it's pretty hard to run some kind of pattern analysis over the text. So if we keep it very, very basic, let's now think about something like, when we have a new customer sign up, we grab certain information, or not customer, but like I book a meeting and I use Calendly and I have it embedded on my website. And when I have someone book a meeting with me, there's a couple of things happen. There's a bit of automation in the background. Not only does it look up my calendar like most people's Calendly does, I have something more advanced sitting behind it. For example, you jump on the web page. I remember a link, which is really just my website / my name. And I can really whip it out very easily in networking or in Zooms or group chats or things like that. Or I can rattle it off in a networking event and people can remember it relatively easily. The next consideration, or the next point, is once they get to the page, they're on a page of my website. So they're exposed to the full branding. So I don't have to go and explain who I am before they meet me, because they've probably already read it. There's a video there. There's links to the socials. There's all sorts of things. So this digital experience from meeting someone has been quite literally, here's a link, and they go onto the site. They can see everything on about you and explore the rest of your business. Then when they book with you, you ask certain questions. Are you interested in product stream A, B, or C? And then you can run them in an email automation sequence. Or all I do quite simply is just, would you like to receive marketing from us, yes or no? If someone says yes, they'll go into my nurture sequence, which, there's a couple of like, I look forward to meeting you. Here's some things that we can discuss. And here's some links to some other things. Looking forward to it. And if no, then they won't get anything. And we respect their privacy. We respect their decision not to want to receive marketing. And that has more power than you think. Everybody, when email marketing became big, everyone's like, I need to get a bigger list. I need to send to more people. And the issue was that they basically, kill their list, because they just, frustrate everybody around them because they're spamming. So now, because you've respected their wish, they may still do business with you, even if they're not in your email automation sequence. But being able to duplicate yourself is being able to make those micro decisions and treat people as they want to be treated and deliver those customer experiences without having to be too hands-on with it. So that's where you need to have those decision rules. The next one is having templates. Like I said, as soon as someone comes in, they're on a page, it's a template. It's my bio and some video and some links. Then after they've been on that page, there is an email that they can potentially get if they select yes. That's a template. So now I've provided them with an information, and on that template is not just a massive wall of text. It's if you're curious, here's something that you can find and discover on your own. We're not going to force it down your throat, but if you want to go to the YouTube channel and check out all the podcasts and the demos, then go there. If you want to go to the website and see what we're about before we chat, then you can go there. But all of those little key facts, those points, people want to do that anyway. I know you think you might be ramming stuff down people's throats, but the average person is 51% of the way through the buyer journey before they talk to a salesperson. So what better way than to give someone the ability to seek you out, determine whether or not they want to talk to you, and then make that decision before they actually book with you. Saves your time, saves their time, duplicates itself, because now you've got the system that has accelerated the conversation before they get to speak with you. So the next thing is a bit of knowledge management. Now, some of that occurs in the content on the websites, but on the home side, inside the business, just having documents and how-to guides and knowledge-based articles which guide the team on how to respond to certain issues, queries, problems. So now by creating guides for other people to do work for me, I'm duplicating myself. So knowledge management is really, really important. And as I said earlier, grabbing that bit of information at the start and storing it somewhere where everyone can access saves a lot of time. You don't have to go back. You don't have to go and ask someone else. Having the information in the middle means that now you don't have to have a half hour to an hour meeting to do the handover conversation about a particular client issue, because it's all the communication is centralized, all the notes, all the history. Maybe there might be a 5-minute handover or a 10-minute handover, but it's certainly massively saved the amount of time that you would otherwise have to do if you went from scratch, from your notebook to their brain. So the next one is case management. Now that's kind of like not only a bit of like a centralized email inbox, but now you can apply certain things to that. You can escalate it. It has its own notes. It has its own history. And then you can route it around to different departments. So it's a little bit more advanced than a shared mailbox, a little bit more than a shared inbox kind of Outlook sort of thing. But, case management allows you to get data analytics, run automations, do that sort of thing. So that's really about duplicating yourself. Now, that kind of creates and sets the scene for digital transformation. So when creating digital transformation, you need to think about, 3 things. And that is people, process, and systems. So why don't we start just quickly on the people side of digital transformation. So in that whole sequence that I described, there's a whole lot of systems. But, there's a little bit of smarts that has to go on. 1, to come up with the content. 2, to understand the system. 3, to be able to use the system effectively and know where to look, when and why, and what this means, what that means. It does take a little bit of training. Sometimes you may need to level people up. If I threw someone who's, usually used to, say, manual labor out in the work shed, they know their tools, they know their materials, but they don't know the computer systems. Maybe they don't know what a Boolean search is or something like that. There's a problem, not with the person, but with the digital transformation aspect of people. You can't just take someone from a workspace. They're not used to that sort of stuff, without training, without education, and then just pop them into a process that they've got no idea about, or a technology that they've got no idea about. So if you're going to do a digital transformation, if you're going to rip one way of doing things out and put in a new one, you need to consider the technical capability of the people in and around. How embedded are they in the process that they've been doing? You get what's called shadow IT. Shadow IT occurs when someone goes, this seems too hard, I'm just going to do mine over here. This is a classic problem that happens with things like Asana, Trello, or all these really nice, flashy, easy to click, clean looking things. Yes, they're basic, they feel nice, they're easy to understand, but it doesn't always help the business. Say, for example, if you're working in, government, and you're doing a project, and the project involves, many millions of dollars, hundreds of people, and a lot of resources. Not only is your basic system not going to be able to handle it, there might be a number of reasons from an accounting perspective, from a data and analytics perspective, from a security and governance perspective, that you cannot use things like Asana, or you cannot use things like Monday.com or Trello. So having a system that's relevant and making sure that people know why they're using something. It's not like, oh, I've got to turn up and bang my head against the wall. There's probably a good reason. And quite often, if you show someone the why, they'll actually try to extrapolate information themselves. So they'll be able to go, all right, well, I know why we need to do this, and there's a gap here that I don't understand. So instead of just hitting my head against the wall, pretending like I don't know the problem or don't know why, I will go and research how to solve that faster. It does happen, believe it or not. So in a good culture, in a good organization, people is a really, really, really important part of digital transformation. Okay. The next point I want to raise is the process part of digital transformation. We've walked into businesses where we have done a process transformation and it hasn't been digital. So, for example, there was an organization where they had a trade services business. It was a field service management, which means that people book and they have to be scheduled, and they drive out to a location in a van. They do the work. They're then scheduled somewhere else. They go over there. They get notifications of urgent jobs, etc. That environment is called a field service management environment. So having a field service business means that they've often got to go and do quotes, and they've got to send someone out to site, and so they have to be scheduled. But they're running things like Facebook ads, Google ads, and they're spending all this money on marketing. And so all of this money that goes into marketing then goes ideally into leads, people who pick up the phone and call. And so they had these call team, and not only did they have the people that answered the first call and say, hello, how are you? What can I do? They kind of fielded the call, got rid of some of the junk, got them to, yes, I do want to have you come out and look at my thing and give me a quote. And so what they would then do is route the call to a scheduler. So they had this one person who would literally just look at the schedule and route all the jobs, because they knew where people were. They had a bit of history in their brain about, I booked 3 jobs over there on Wednesday. They're going to be down in that region. So let's try to get them in the same spot at the same time to make it more efficient based on mapping. And the problem was, because they had this gap, that one person was a bottleneck, and they were the only person that could answer or could schedule. So when they were sick, it was a nightmare. When they were, off for whatever reason, it was a nightmare. When they got to the point of having a, what's the word I'm thinking? When they got to the point of, getting someone that rang through, wanted to book, they were super keen, but they were busy. They were already on a call with another person. Then it would schedule a call back. And sometimes when they call back, they can't get them, or they'd found another one on Google. So, the problem was that they'd actually created plenty of issues around availability of the person that could schedule. And then this bottleneck was really, really holding them up. And they had a lot of calls dropped because they didn't want to sit on hold. They had a lot of people that didn't get called back, or when they did, they'd found someone else. So all that money spent on Google and the front end people answering calls kind of went down the toilet between that front end call and the scheduler. So we came in, we mapped out their process on the whiteboard, no tech involved. We said, all right, well, here is where you're losing all of your customers, or a very, very solid percentage of your leads. So we went to a first call resolution model, and we got them to all of the first call responders to be able to schedule a meeting. Then a few extra user licenses, systems they already had, a little bit of training, and broadly didn't really require any additional tech to be implemented. It was purely process. They absolutely exploded because they weren't dropping 20% of calls. They weren't dropping all of this money onto Google ads that were just going, they were probably genuine hot leads that were going nowhere. They actually had to go and hire all of these people to go and do the quoting. They had to go and hire extra people on the front end to answer all of the calls because all the leads were coming in. But every time they did, they just kept going, and they had massive supply problems because their team, they couldn't hire fast enough to keep up with it. And all that was a change in process, not a change in tech. So the process part of digital transformation is critical. Don't put an old process in a new system, because you get new technology, you have new capabilities. Say, for example, if they upgraded their field service management, it could probably do route optimization based on AI using the map, distance, traffic times, feedback, etc. So the next part of good digital transformation, so we've talked about people, we've talked about process, and now, of course, it's the obvious part. It's the systems. It's the tech that you're actually implementing. So the tech that you're implementing, some people look at technology and they go, oh, I'm going to take something that is cheap. I don't want to pay that much. This much looks good. Or they go the easy option, like we talked about with the council or government and the small business problem, I guess, is the shadow IT, when people go, this one looks overly complex. I'm probably just going to get the cheap one, like Asana or whatever. But what happens is, at a certain scale, it becomes a Band-Aid problem, the Band-Aid solution to the problem. In fact, we worked with an accounting firm once that had 26 applications in their business. That's insane. Now, whilst you can have some other little add-ons here, but that's 26 applications just for their normal everyday operational sales process. That was accounting, CRM, project management, timesheets, and invoicing. So that's literally doing 5 tasks in 26 platforms. That is ridiculous. So if you think about it, that's all 26 platforms that require a subscription, that require training, that require licensing out to individuals. So some people need 1 license, some people need 7 licenses to be able to operate in their little workspace. But now you've got to try and decode who does what, who has access to what, and why. Then you've got the data problem of, we got some information in this system, but it hasn't fed through to this one. So you lose clarity over what's going on across the whole business. So, having a good system that is robust enough, can scale, can grow, can maybe keep more in one bucket rather than in 26 different buckets, you're going to have a much better result. You're going to have better data. You're going to be able to see the life cycle of a customer, make tweaks and changes along the way. For example, we use Salesforce, and we can bring in information from external platforms. I have someone call me, I type up the name, within 3 seconds, I've got the individual record in front of me. I can see what the company spent with me over the last 12 months or longer, what the lifetime value is. I can see any outstanding invoices. I can see, so from that, I would extrapolate, wow, this person's a great customer because they spent heaps with us. Let's give them the attention they deserve. Or they're a problem, so we need to maybe ask them, hey, you've got a few outstanding invoices. But now you do it from a position of, normal engagement. Oh, by the way, I noticed this. Would you be able to fix that up? It's a nicer conversation than calling them up cold and going, hey, you owe money. So, having that visibility also helps you make decisions on, maybe this customer is a massive time waster, or maybe this one is, it doesn't seem like much, but there's a lot of growth capacity in that client. So now you know who to spend your time on. And, it's not only about, doing it for yourself in terms of, making it more profitable. It's also about good customer service, being able to answer them by their name. You go back through the history and go, oh, look, I noticed you had this problem. So-and-so should have solved it by now. Is there anything else we can do? And they'll go, wow, great service. That's great, because you've got a good system that can stitch everything together. But to get to that point, you need to have the people, you need to have the processes, and you need to have the systems. And all of those working together make a beautiful digital transformation. So it's like baking a cake. You've got to have everything in the right balance. So from today, we've talked about how to duplicate yourself, and generally it requires a little bit of digital transformation. We described a journey of going through your calendar, in like a B2B experience, booking that first conversation, getting to a meeting, giving them the ability to discover more about you before the conversation, or not. They can jump straight in and you just make it low effort and low drag. But you give someone that's keen the ability to accelerate the conversation themselves. I know I do a little bit of research, before I go and take on a large project or contract. I want to know the people I'm working with before I work with them. And by providing that information using automation, all you do is help yourself down the pipeline to doing business with them. So make sure you got good systems, and then you'll be able to scale and grow. I hope you have enjoyed our live stream today. If you are listening and you want to see more, we do this every Friday at about 1:30 p.m. Brisbane time. If you've got any questions you would like to ask, I have seen a couple of comments come through. Can't answer them right now, but I will. I'll add some responses and do a bit of research so that we can answer them next week. If you have any other questions, feel free to ping us through socials or raise through the chat on the website, or go to the contact form and ask your question there, and we'll make sure we address it. If you want, you can also listen to some of the podcasts that we've done on the YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, etc. Hit the little bell so you get the notification. But we do this, as I said, every week. We answer your questions. We'd also like to give some love to Ripper Hosting, which is our web hosting business, and wearing the t-shirt for today. We've got a new ad out, so if you want to check out the YouTube channel, Ripper Hosting, go and check out the ad. It's me doing some funny acting. I hope you like it. Otherwise, thank you very much for listening, and I hope to see you again next week. Till then, take care.